We now shift our focus to Turkey, a country that was battered by massive earthquakes last month. It is now gearing up for an election that could potentially shift the political tectonic plates too. Let me explain. Elections in Turkey are due in the month of May, and President Recep Tayyip Erdogan's political future is on the line. How? He's losing popularity rather quickly. Inflation under his watch is over 50%. The earthquakes ravaged areas which are his traditional strongholds. His government's response is being seen as poor, and the construction boom was seen as his big achievement. It is now being blamed for the devastation. So the upcoming election is a litmus test for him, perhaps the toughest of his career. And now he has a challenger from the opposition. It is this man, Kemal Kilicdaroglu, the official presidential candidate of the opposition in Turkey. And remember, the opposition is an alliance. It is called the Table of Six, a rather shaky table. We'll tell you more about it in a bit. But first, listen in to what the Turkish opposition had to say.
I consider it a duty to announce the decision we have taken following our meetings. We name Mr. Kemal Kilicdaroglu as a presidential candidate.
Our table is the table of peace and brotherhood. Our biggest goal is to carry Turkey towards prosperous, peaceful and joyful days. We will govern Turkey through consultation and consensus.
So who is Kemal Kilicdaroglu? For starters, he heads the largest opposition party in Turkey, the Republican People's Party, or CHP. Kilicdaroglu was born in Turkey's Tunceli province, the same province that has witnessed many violent rebellions in the past, but this man calls himself a quiet force. His colleagues have gone one step forward. They call him Turkey's Gandhi, a reference to one of India's greatest icons, Mahatma Gandhi. But why the comparison? Kilicdaroglu's colleagues say he is soft-spoken like Mahatma Gandhi and to a certain degree even looks like him. This man has worn many hats over the years. He started off as a bureaucrat in the 1970s. He entered Turkey's Ministry of Finance at a junior level, went on to hold top roles in various institutions, retired in 1999 and then entered politics. In fact, the year 2002 was the breakout year for Turkish politics for two people, Kemal Kilicdaroglu and Recep Tayyip Erdogan. Kilicdaroglu entered the Turkish parliament for the first time in 2002. He was his party's deputy from Istanbul. And Erdogan made a big gain. His party, the Justice and Development Party, AKP, came to power for the first time under his leadership. 20 years on, these two men are facing off in a presidential election. In all these years, Kilicdaroglu has tried to project himself as a leader with a difference, one who is not corrupt. But it's not helped beyond a point. The man is 74 years old. He's been leading his party for 13 years, but they haven't won a single election under him. Not yet. Will this year be different? As of today, his chances are limited. Opinion polls say only 40% people are happy with his record as opposition leader, and that's less than the majority he needs in the election. Some of his party colleagues are said to have more favorable ratings, and they stand a better chance at defeating Erdogan, which is why the nomination as an official candidate, his nomination, came with a fair bit of drama. The alliance was on the verge of a breakup. Some members were not confident about Kilicdaroglu's chances.
Unfortunately, our views and suggestions were rejected in a resolute way by the stakeholders at the table. I'm sorry to say that as of yesterday, the Table of Six has lost its ability to reflect the will of the nation in its decisions.
But the dissent lasted for barely 72 hours. Concessions were made. The dissenters were told they'll be accommodated as vice presidents if they win the election, and they joined ranks again. Now, as they face the election, what's their USP? What is the opposition's unique selling proposition? They're hoping to capitalize on the anger against Erdogan, and they're promising to restore Turkey's parliamentary system. It was scrapped in 2018, remember, to bring in president's rule.
We will govern Turkey through consultation and consensus. As the heads of the political parties forming the Nation Alliance, we have also agreed on the roadmap for the transition to a strengthened parliamentary system.
His challenger is Erdogan, and it's not going to be an easy fight. The two men share a long and bitter political history. In 2016, Kilicdaroglu was prosecuted for insulting Erdogan. He called the president a dictator. Then he scored a major electoral win against Erdogan. In 2019, he put together a coalition that won big elections in Istanbul and Ankara. It was seen as a big defeat for the president. But the road to Turkey's presidency is not going to be an easy one for Kilicdaroglu. The biggest stumbling block will be the disinformation law. It was passed last year, and it has a provision to arrest citizens who spread misinformation. Erdogan has used this law widely against his critics, including Kilicdaroglu. He became the first person to be reportedly charged for slander against Erdogan's AKP party. If convicted, he faces up to 3 years in jail, which brings us to the million-dollar question: can this man, Kemal Kilicdaroglu, defeat Recep Tayyip Erdogan and end his 2-decade-long rule of Turkey? It's expected to go down to the wire. 3 months ahead of the election, Turkey seems to have no clear favorite.